So now I want to talk about, so as you get your ministry going, again, that idea of what things do you do and how do you get people drawn into deeper levels of commitment. And so we talk a lot about at Saddleback about the idea of crawl, walk, run. And it's this idea that we look at the way Jesus called people into increasing levels of commitment. We notice that when Jesus called his disciples, he sees them on the shore and he says, come and see what I'm doing. Just come and check it out. Like, you might be skeptical, just come be around me, And then as they get a taste of what he's about, they get a flavor for his ministry. He says, okay, now come and follow. Leave your nets and follow me. So, and you can see him inching up the commitment there. And then, as they've been with him and they've seen him do miracles and he's been pouring into them, then he says, okay, come and pick up your cross and follow me, which we have to remember, the cross was an instrument of torture and death. Jesus is saying, come and die. And so we see in that, this increasing levels of commitment as he's pulling them into increasing relationship with himself. And we model the way we mobilize volunteers on that same idea, that we want to help people with a crawl step. And so that would be something that's a low level of commitment. It's really a come and see. Really just put your foot in the water of what does HIV ministry look like. That could be, you can see an example in your workbook. That could be take a meal to someone who's sick or prepare a meal. Maybe you're not even taking it. That could be researching the needs in your community. So it's just the minimum of what would take very little time, not a lot of commitment, and probably not a lot of money. And then as people are hopefully getting into relationship with people, as you make that meal and you see the person live with HIV and they're not, this ambiguous idea that you had thought, that then you would want your heart would open up to a greater level of commitment. And you as leaders then ask people to greater levels of commitment, because we see Jesus doing that over and over again. And then they would enter into a walk step. So that's going to be an increased time commitment, perhaps increased resources, and increased relationship. So that could be something like taking someone to a doctor's appointment. So you can see there's a little bit more time there. There's more relationship. That could be attending an outreach event, like an AIDS walk or a testing event in the community. A little bit, the scary factor goes up, the commitment goes up. But again, it's increasing the ability for people to put a face to this issue, to build relationship that draws people and themselves into community. And then once they're doing a walk step, then we invite people into a run step, and those are the steps that are the most commitment, the most time, high sacrifice, high relationship. So that would be something like a mentor to someone living with HIV, a treatment coach. That life on life. I'm going to stick with you through the tough times type of friendship. That would be something. Here in our community, it could look like serving on a volunteer government board to build those relationships with communities, groups that are serving in HIV. You can see in this chart in your workbook, it's seeded with examples, but really this is something for your group that you start to flesh out for yourselves. Because again, your opportunities are going to look different. But I encourage you, the point of Crawl, Walk, Run is so often we see people, and when they start a ministry, it's just kind of this thing where, it's an all or nothing thing, right? I think of HIV ministry, and I think that I'm either going to be praying or, kneeling at someone's bedside as they're dying, And those things are both possible in this ministry. But what I encourage people to consider is, but can we create a spectrum of opportunities for the people who are coming into our ministry? Because we notice Jesus didn't start with, hey, come pick up your cross. Nice to meet you. He probably would have lost all his followers. But he understands how people work and that we need to be drawn into increasing levels of commitment in relationship as we learn more. So yes, we want a prayer ministry, but then how can we ask people to then increase their commitment and offer them opportunities for where they're at? Again, as we talked about with advocacy, not assuming that everybody's at the same level of commitment is super key for helping them plug into their right serving spot, but then also calling them into greater levels of commitment. And that's how we see people being mobilized. So I've got people, amazing leaders in our ministry who, when they came, they were scared to talk to anybody. And I said, would you maybe join our prayer group? And then I said, would you maybe lead our prayer group? And you as a leader have the ability, this amazing stewardship from God to look into people who are coming into your ministry and perhaps call out skills and talents in them that they may not see in themselves. And through doing that, I've been able to see amazing volunteers who said, I'll do anything, but don't make me talk to people. And then as seeing them develop these amazing, beautiful friendships with people living with HIV that then produce, such fruit in the life of that person and in their own life, and change the ways they thought about Christianity, changed the ways they thought about the world as they learned what it looked like to love like Jesus loved, as it learned what it looked like to risk themselves in relationship in that way. And it is challenging. But if we had started them out with that, they probably would have run. So, and not in the good way, they would have run away. And so we had to start them out with something where God could increase their capacity and show them that they had greater capacity than they thought that they had. So that would be my encouragement. As we look at Crawl One Step, even write this out in your meeting. Help people think through these opportunities for themselves, because people are more likely to serve in opportunities that they helped shape. And then you have a group that's helping to push and mobilize each other because they've created ownership over these opportunities you've developed. So that's my encouragement to you. Help to draw people into greater relationship and draw people into greater commitment.